Hello, my name is Martin Bresniak. My student ID is 216934358, and this is my video for my course final project. So as mentioned in the report, I basically created an Olympic stopwatch timer. The time will be displayed on here, and that time will basically run from the time it takes from the ball hitting that green flag to hitting that little metal piece, or tinfoil, at the bottom there. So now I will demonstrate this working. So to begin, before we can even really begin timing, we need to basically select one of the 3 event slots and then one of the 3 time slots within that event slot. So in this case, let's say I go for this event slot, and then, so that's event 1, let's just call it, that's event 1, event 2, event 3, and this is time 1, time 2, time 3. So let's pick time 1 here. So we got event 1 and time 1. So if I go ahead and release the ball, nothing happened. Whoops. And that is because we need to set the device into write mode, essentially. And when I do that, I can get the camera focused. That the LED above the event slot turns on to kind of indicate that one of the time slots inside that event slot is basically ready to time, pretty much. Okay, so now I will run this again, only this time, see, timer ticks down as the ball rolls, and then when it hits the middle thing, the time stops. That's our time right there. 8 seconds, 352.4 milliseconds. So that's the time it took for the ball from up here to down there. So now that that's all good, I can actually go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and record 3 more times. Before I do that, let me set that back to read mode. And then if I flick off this switch, the time goes back to 0, but if I flip back on, the time comes back. And if I flick this switch, there's nothing there because there's no time there. We're going to put a time there. So here we go again. The timer starts. And the time stops. Alright, so now I will go ahead and turn off that mode. Okay, so now I basically have 3 times within that event slot. So you can see if I flick this, we got our first time. If I flick this, we got our second time, and those are slightly different times. And then if I flick this last switch, we have our third time. Now, if I go ahead and flick off that event switch and go to event 2, and I flick all these switches, nothing shows up because this is a completely new event. I can go back to this event if I so want. So if I flick event 1, I check this out, boom, our times are all back, just as they were before. So now, however, I'm going to go over to event 2, and I'm going to fill this one up, and then I'm going to do the same with event 3. So yeah, first, and also if I flick this, oh right, whoops, gotta select a time slot first, so I'll flick that, flick this, and then that LED turns on. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go over to time slot 3. If you check here, there are also still no times in here. So I'm just going to do the middle one for this one. So now I have all the time slots filled out. So if I need to go back again, if I flick time slot 1 here, and I flick these, all our times are still here. If I go to time slot 2, there we have that for a thing. The second one I didn't record anything in. And then this one I believe is also, yeah, those are pretty similar. And then if we go over to time slot 3, one has nothing. The last one has nothing, but if I flick the second one, we have our 9-second time. So yeah, that is basically all the time slots filled. Now let's say I wanted to erase a time slot. So, or a time. So first I would go ahead and select a time slot. So let's say select the first one, and then I go ahead and select this time. So we'll do our first one. So in order to reset, it's basically simple. So right now I'm in read mode. All I'm going to do is just put this back into write mode while on that time, and the time gets erased. So now if I go back and I see, that time's still there, that time's still there. This time has now been erased. And now I can fill that up with a new time. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. And now we have our new time. So as you can see,